Peace, positivity, and pull-ups, y'all. So, my favorite part of doing the show has been the interviews, and most new viewers to the show have come from one of their friends being interviewed. So, I wanted to make a third compilation of the past 10 interviews I've done to date, because everybody has an interesting story, and you can get a quick idea of the ones you may have missed out on.
Move, damn you!
What's the best advice you've ever gotten, or just something you think everyone should know?
Because it's not about intensity, it's more about consistency. So it's not what you can do all at once, it's what you can do over time. Because just like you don't get fat overnight, you get fat over a period of time because of consistent habits. The same thing goes for good health and strength. If you want to be strong, if you want to be conditioned, if you want to be good at a sport, you want to be anything, you have to be consistent with it and be ready to take a step back when you need to and take a few steps forward when you need to.
What is the biggest mistake that beginners make when they're just starting out?
To not be patient and try and jump certain steps, whatever it is. If it's like, learning a handstand, learning a new movement, like there is a progression, there's an evolution that happens, and of course you can push that, but make sure you really understand the first step before you move on to the next one. You really have to understand A before you move on to B. So I think just that being impatient and wanting to reach their goal without the journey, and a big part of it is like the journey.
What is the physical feat you're most proud of?
Completing my triathlon and other races that I really didn't think I was ever capable of doing. If I can do a triathlon, anyone can. I'm not a runner, I'm not a natural athlete, I just set a goal and I worked for it and I did it. With my first race, I trained for 4 months beforehand, just from tutorials I found online, and before that first race, I had only been running for about 6 months. So that was a really big feat.
My friend Larry, as I was leaving to the airport, was like, "Hey, you gained a little weight, huh?" And I was like, "Oh man, people can notice. If you hurt your knee and you have to limp around town and you're too depressed to do anything but like eat cookie dough and watch movies on Netflix, you gain weight sometimes." Yeah, I decided to get back on the bike because I'd been, cheating on that out of this ridiculous fear I had in my head of falling again or getting hit by a car. And I decided to do more than that because I knew that I'd lost ground. So I started running. It's good to stay focused and have like a reason to get up in the morning.
What are you most proud of in terms of your progress?
Mentally keeping myself on track a lot of times. For me right now, it's not so much that I want to just lose weight, but I want to be in shape. I want to be physically fit. When I get to a point that I am in the shape that I want to be in, I would like to challenge my body in new ways. But right now, it's just I have to set small goals for myself. If I want to do too much, I'm not going to do it.
I did the Spartan race. This is probably my second Spartan race that I've done. Before that, I've done a mud run. I've also completed 8 marathons. Actually, I did 9. I did 7 LA marathons and I did 2 over in Las Vegas. You know, it's funny. I'm not a runner. I took up like running some long distances, because I was under a lot of stress. I didn't think about how far I ran. I didn't think about my body being sore. I just did it.
What is the best advice that you've ever gotten, or something you think that everyone should know?
Best advice they told me was to slow down. Like I said, I always wanted to skip every step possible just to get to, get further. And they told me, no, slow down, because next thing you know, you're going to be in that position that you always wanted to be in. And you're going to miss those days of learning, of understanding the first times you achieve something. So yeah, I would say slow down, take your time, because you'll get there.
So, what is the best advice you've ever gotten, or something you think everyone should know?
As a person, you've got to be able to be open to never ever seeing yourself as a certain age. You've got to see yourself as a person, foremost in everything, because there's still that child in you, no matter what age you are. That child that had all those experiences is still part of you. That teenager in you, to a person who is, older, more mature now in a lot of people's eyes, but still has that essence, because you as an individual can decide how young or how old you want yourself to be, how you keep yourself active.
What is the most important part of your diet?
Whatever my goals are, I find out what the best calorie intake is for that, and then factor in the workouts as well. Eating too less, eating too much is why people boomerang or hold on to weight or don't do it right. Calorie counting is the most important because that's what gets you down to the size of your meals, the amounts. And once you're to that point where you're not as hungry, then it's easier to tailor in everything else. When you just jump straight to, oh, I'm just going to get a lot of protein, or I'm not going to do a lot of carbs or anything like that, you're still sitting there pounding down the bacon because you don't want carbs, and your calories are still, off the charts, so you're not seeing the results.
What is the biggest mistake that beginners make when they're just starting out?
I would probably say the biggest mistake would be too much ambition, because that was my biggest mistake, and I see that a lot. Don't overexert yourself. One step at a time, you'll eventually get to the goal that you want. You can cheat, but if you do cheat to achieve your goal, you'll inevitably, shortchange yourself in the long run. So just be patient.